Hello, my name is Andrew Thake. I'm a divisional director with Resourcing Tomorrow. Delighted to be joined today by Damian Pearson. Damian is a partner at Oryx Global Partners, an Abu Dhabi-based investment firm specializing in securing strategic mineral supply chains and facilitating the energy transition. Delighted to have you with us today.
Great to meet you, Andrew.
Um, You recently joined Oryx Global Partners. What specific gaps or opportunities did you identify in the current minerals investment landscape that convinced you about Oryx's differentiated approach?
I think at Oryx, we believe that private capital's got a significant role to play in the minerals landscape. One example of that would be it allows management to focus on the efficient delivery of projects, not have to manage multiple investors and perhaps respond to more arbitrary timelines often required by public markets. I think specifically Oryx, we have developed a differentiated approach. Firstly, we target opportunities in the extraction, processing, and recycling of minerals. So we're not just upstream investors, and we target other verticals within the value chain where we believe there's an opportunity for attractive risk-adjusted returns. In addition, our investments are focused on minerals that are either exposed to supply chain risks or really critical to sort of electrification, energy transition. And then the overall aim is to balance our portfolio across advanced development projects, operating assets requiring expansion capital, and then turnaround situations, and overall with a primary focus on OECD. We're really commodity agnostic, although we don't invest in coal or diamonds and gemstones, and we have an ability to take a counter-cyclical view. So really our overall aim is to deliver more consistent and predictable returns to investors.
Oryx emphasizes supply chains and the energy transition. Given your extensive background in M&A for both battery materials and base metals, how do you evaluate the geopolitical risks versus the technical merits when selecting assets that are critical for the global energy transition?
I think it's a good question, and I think we've been on an interesting journey. I mean, when I look back at my career in the early noughties, as globalization was perhaps the buzzword, I was based in Australia. And in those times, we saw significant transaction activity as really primarily China invested in raw materials across steel feed, base metals, and later on battery metals. And, I was indeed part of advising on a lot of those transactions when I was at Deutsche Bank. We're now in an era where supply chain security is more of a focus for governments. And that's obviously, a great thing for the minerals industry. That focus is particularly, driven by the US, and you've seen it through both the Biden and Trump presidencies, although with different lenses, different tools. But clearly those policy tools are trying to stimulate production, which if left to market economics may not happen. I think as resource investors, we need to be careful, and the technical merits of a deposit are key. And we see government involvement as a potential to improve and enhance returns. And we are careful about underwriting a project just based on government policies, which may be subject to change.
One thing that I find really interesting about Oryx is that you've chosen Abu Dhabi as your hub. And I've seen obviously on your website, you cite it as a neutral and strategic location for global commodities. From an investment execution standpoint, how does being based in Abu Dhabi change the way you approach cross-border transactions compared to, say, your previous experience in the Australian or London markets?
So Oryx really has two primary offices, Abu Dhabi and London. Most of our people are actually located in Abu Dhabi, and we've also got offices in Cape Town and in Australia. And that's really reflecting our focus on opportunities globally. We're regulated as a fund manager in ADGM, which has got a very respected regulatory regime. And a number of the major private equity fund managers have a presence there now. We look and consider the UAE as a strategic location for a few things. One, global access with very impressive transport links. It's an emerging hub for processing and recycling in selected industries, and there's significant capital available in the region. And we believe that being based there will help us access that.
You've spoken about the need to provide operational oversight and value add rather than just provide capital. Can you give us an example where a strategic intervention or has significantly altered the trajectory of a project's development?
Sure. I think like many private equity funds, and I think that's just beyond the mining world too. We're not simply providers of capital, but we seek to add value to investments through more active participation. Specifically for Oryx, that's board positions to provide strategic guidance and its oversight. And in addition, sort of deeper technical, operational and financial input. So we're seeking to support management teams and provide access to our resources and expertise. I think within junior mining companies, we often see capability gaps and believe that with our support, teams can achieve better outcomes. It's those capabilities which may exist in the larger mining companies. I think if you just take funding, for example, collectively as a group, we've financed many projects and been involved in that, and our access and network of funding providers is significant. And I think that's the sort of expertise where, in particular, if Oryx is providing equity, we can help, I think, secure financing on better terms. And I've certainly seen that being done from my previous experience.
Oryx is aligning with SFDR Article 8 requirements, aiming for a net positive impact in mining. In an industry which is often criticised for its environmental footprint, how do you balance the pressure for high internal rates of return with the rigorous ESG and sustainability mandates Oryx has committed to?
I think at Oryx, the way we look at this is we don't see ESG and impact outcomes as a trade-off with returns. We actually see it more of an opportunity to enhance investor returns by de-risking investments. Through, for example, positive community relationships. We also think it's very necessary to attract capital to the sector, which has frequently been seen as dirty or environmentally damaging as an industry. And that in particular capital from endowment funds and family offices, which are going through generational change.
And one last question is, you're obviously speaking at our upcoming Resourcing Tomorrow Hong Kong event on the 16th to 17th of April. And obviously you'll be there representing Oryx, but you also sit on the board of the Asia Mining Club. There might be some of our viewers who are unfamiliar with the Asia Mining Club. Can you just tell us a little bit about it?
Absolutely. So the Asia Mining Club is a not-for-profit organization which is designed to support the mining network within Hong Kong. We aim to sort of put on a number of events to basically connect individuals, typically 4 to 5 events per year. And on average, we sort of get a turnout between 75 and 100 people. And, over time, it's changed quite a little bit. But right now, we're, in the post-COVID era, we're returning to a lot of, in-person events. And during what we've termed now as Hong Kong Mining Week, we'll actually be having a cocktail event, which is, very much designed to sort of promote the mining and enhance those networks within Hong Kong.
Well, thank you very much for your time today, Damian. We're really looking forward to working with both you, Oryx, and the Asian Mining Club at Resourcing Tomorrow Hong Kong. We're really delighted to be part of Hong Kong Mining Week, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Andrew.